Welcome back to The Explainer, you guys. Okay, we desperately need to talk about the absolute bombshell that just dropped on the entertainment world today. Honestly, if you are anywhere on pop culture internet right now, you already know we are dealing with a total earthquake of an announcement. Whether you're a hardcore Swiftie, a devoted Disney adult, or just someone who follows the behind the scenes of Hollywood, you are absolutely going to lose your mind over this one. We are talking about Taylor Swift's incredibly secretive, completely surprise performance and major movie announcement that, I kid you not, left the entire room of industry insiders totally gagged. It is not an exaggeration to say that this is the biggest intersection of gigantic music industry news and beloved cinematic universes that we have literally seen all year. What we are looking at here is a complete masterclass in cross-promotional secrecy. I mean, it is a total collision of two cultural titans. You've got the unstoppable, mastermind storytelling powerhouse that is Taylor Swift, coming face-to-face with the nostalgic, deeply beloved world of Disney and Pixar's Toy Story franchise. And let's get one thing straight right out of the gate, okay? Taylor didn't just casually announce her involvement with some boring, standard Instagram post or a generic PR press release. No. She actually showed up in person and debuted original, deeply emotional music live. She delivered this heartfelt speech that literally had everyone in the audience tearing up, and she actually shared the stage with a literal bona fide Hollywood legend. So today, we are going to unpack all the tea here. We are dissecting every single lyric she gave us, every quote, and every stunning behind-the-scenes detail from this massive performance. We really need to understand exactly what her role means for the highly anticipated Toy Story 5. Because, honestly guys, this changes the entire trajectory of the film. So, grab your coffee, get comfortable, and let's go deep into this incredible musical reunion. Okay, let's start by unpacking this brand new lyric from her surprise song, because it immediately sets the emotional stakes for this entire massive reveal. The lyric is, "Love has ways of bringing things back to life." I want you to just think about the gravity of that line for a second, especially coming from Taylor Swift. We all know she is basically the reigning queen of planting Easter eggs, right? She's the queen of just emotionally devastating her audience with a single turn of phrase. Now, we all know Toy Story as a franchise is fundamentally about the revival of childhood, it's about the rekindling of forgotten memories, and it's about the enduring nature of loyalty between friends. But taking this a step further, think about the real-world context of the franchise itself. A lot of fans, maybe even you, thought Toy Story 4 was it. It was the definitive, final goodbye, the toys were done, the franchise was put to rest. But then, out of nowhere, here comes Taylor, armed with her acoustic guitar, hitting us right in the feelings with a lyric all about resurrection. She is so well known for her incredibly sharp, evocative songwriting, and with a single, powerful line, she has perfectly captured the entire heartbeat of Pixar storytelling. Doesn't it just give you those sweeping, melancholic vibes we got during her Folklore and Evermore eras? It's so gorgeous. She's basically telling the fandom right out of the gate that this new chapter isn't just going to be some corporate cash grab or a lazy sequel meant to sell new action figures. It is going to be a profound, emotional resurrection of characters that we literally grew up with. She's setting the stage for a narrative that is all about finding something or someone that you genuinely thought was lost to the passage of time forever. Moving on to part 1, a brand new song. I Knew It. I Knew You. Right, so let's really get into the weeds of this debut, because the way this went down was incredible. Swift opened this massive industry event by just stepping up to the mic and immediately hitting the audience with this emotionally charged, incredibly nostalgic new track. And it's titled, I Knew It, I Knew You. She didn't lead with a corporate statement or a teleprompter speech. She led entirely with her art. And the title alone, it gives us so much to theorize about. It speaks directly to that literal lightning bolt moment of recognition. I mean, imagine bumping into an old friend after years, maybe even decades apart. There's always that hesitation, right? That split second of doubt where you wonder if you made the whole relationship up in your head, and then suddenly you have absolute certainty. The lyrics are so meticulously crafted to capture the core enduring theme of friendship that the Toy Story movies are universally famous for. She paints this incredibly vivid picture in the song, talking about the days of the blades of the grass in summer and having bare feet being younger. She even mentions hearing the sound of your bare footsteps running. Guys, this is pure, unadulterated childhood nostalgia injected straight into our veins. She is very intentionally taking us back to the backyard, to the innocence of just running around in the summer heat before adult life got so complicated. And then she brings it right into the present moment of the song, singing about seeing someone standing there in a window with that same smile and realizing that it's been a while. I mean, how many times across these movies have we seen our favorite toy characters separated, lost in boxes, or donated, only to desperately try to find their way back to that one familiar smile? Swift is tapping directly into the absolute DNA of Toy Story here, effortlessly translating the visual magic of Pixar into our signature acoustic storytelling. let's look a little closer at the specific imagery she's playing with in the lyrics, because it brilliantly evokes the playful but also sometimes really turbulent dynamic of growing up. She sings, "I watched you drive around the floor." I mean, come on, it really doesn't get more on the nose than that when we were talking about a movie called Toy Story. But notice how expertly she wraps this very literal toy imagery inside intense, relatable human emotion. She follows it up with, "There were times we could fight like brothers." And she also sings about someone having moves like a mood ring changing colors. This tells us so much. This isn't just a cute throwaway pop song about plastic figures. It's a track about complex, evolving, and sometimes really messy relationships. If you really think back to the deep lore of the very first movie, Woody and Buzz Lightyear absolutely fought like brothers. They were bitter rivals who had to learn how to coexist. They had to navigate their own changing colors and volatile moods to eventually become the inseparable best friends we know today. What Swift is doing here is proving to the snooty Hollywood insiders and the protective hardcore fans alike that she profoundly understands the character dynamics that made these movies so incredibly successful in the first place. She isn't just phoning in a catchy pop tune for a Disney paycheck. She is writing a deeply character-driven narrative. And honestly, that mood ring lyric, it makes you wonder what kind of mental and emotional state the toys are going to be in for this fifth installment. Like, are we dealing with new conflicts? A total fracturing of the friend group? The speculation online is already running completely wild. Let's dive into part 2, joining Toy Story 5, and specifically, writing for Jessie. Okay, so following that stunning, totally tear-jerking musical performance, the room was absolutely buzzing. You could literally feel the energy. She transitioned seamlessly into a heartfelt, emotional speech, and that's when she officially confirmed her new creative role in Toy Story 5. And she wanted to make it crystal clear to everyone in that room that she isn't just lending her superstar name to the soundtrack for some quick publicity or a red carpet moment. She is emotionally invested in this lore. She did not hold back her praise for the upcoming film at all. She actually called Toy Story 5 insanely beautiful. She explicitly called it a masterpiece. And honestly, the most gag-worthy moment of the whole speech was when she declared that it is her favorite of all of the Toy Stories. Let's be real for a second, guys. That is an unbelievably massive claim to make in front of an industry crowd. The Toy Story franchise is widely considered to have some of the most perfect, critically acclaimed, culturally significant films in the entire history of animation. For a storyteller of Taylor Swift's caliber, who is arguably the most influential artist on the planet right now, to stand on a stage and declare the fifth installment to be her absolute favorite, she is setting the bar astronomically high. Just think about what a massive PR win this is for Disney. Having Taylor Swift organically hype up your movie from the stage, telling the creators they should be proud, and telling the audience they are lucky to get to see it, that kind of authentic excitement literally cannot be bought. Which brings us to the absolute most exciting, emotionally devastating part of the entire announcement. Her contribution to this movie is highly, highly specific. She was given the immense honor of writing for the beloved cowgirl Jessie, who is of course voiced by the incomparable Joan Cusack. Now this is where the tea goes from just exciting movie news to an absolute pop culture phenomenon. Taylor Swift isn't writing a generic upbeat end credits anthem for the whole cast to dance to. She wrote specifically for Jessie's internal emotional journey. During her speech, Swift took a really beautiful moment to single out Joan Cusack, stating that Cusack has done such an extraordinary job as Jessie over the decades, and that it was a true honor to write for her. Now, if you are a 90s or 2000s kid, you already know the sheer trauma of Jessie's history in these films. Jessie represents themes of deep abandonment, debilitating anxiety, fierce, unconditional loyalty, and of course, that incredibly emotional backstory we saw in Toy Story 2 with the song When She Loved Me by Sarah McLachlan. Literally, that sequence scarred an entire generation of millennials. So who better to pick up the musical baton and write a song for Jessie's next chapter than Taylor Swift? Swift is the undisputed reigning queen of writing about complex female emotions, devastating heartbreak, and the messy journey of resilience. The pairing of Joan Cusack's iconic, frantic, lovable voice acting with Taylor Swift's hyper-specific, emotional lyricism is basically a match made in cinematic heaven. Now for part 3, honoring the Pixar team, the creators behind the magic. It's really important to look at how this deal actually came together behind closed doors, because Swift made sure to shine a massive spotlight directly on the animators and directors who brought her into this universe. In the entertainment industry, and we talk about this all the time, the massive A-list stars usually soak up all the credit for these collaborations. But Swift took immense care to thank all the creators at Disney and Pixar. She specifically thanked writers and directors Andrew Stanton and Ken Harris for reaching out to her and allowing her to be inspired by their beautiful work. This is a very telling detail for those of us who track how Hollywood operates. Swift noted that Stanton and Harris, the actual visionaries who wrote and directed this film, were the ones who explicitly reached out to her. They invited her into the Pixar inner sanctum. They let her experience the film's early drafts so that she could genuinely connect with it. This proves that her song wasn't just written in a vacuum in a recording studio somewhere and then slapped onto the movie in post-production by some studio executive. No, she was brought into the fold by the creators themselves. She was allowed to absorb the heavy story they were trying to tell, and then tasked with translating Jessie's specific emotional journey into music. It shows a remarkable level of humility from Swift, too, calling herself just a small part of the universe that these brilliant artists have spent decades lovingly building. Moving to part 4, the Randy Newman duet and passing the torch. You guys, the absolute climax of this event arrived when she introduced the legendary musician who originally defined the entire sound of the franchise. You could practically feel the electricity in the room shift right through the screen. Swift had just debuted a gorgeous new song, she had just made a massive casting announcement basically, but she wasn't done pulling surprises out of her hat. She pivoted her speech to bring out a guest that would permanently bridge the gap between the brand new future of Toy Story and its deeply rooted iconic past. She introduced Randy Newman, demonstrating her deep, deep reverence for his legacy. For the younger Gen Z Swifties who might not know the history, Randy Newman is the guy who gave Toy Story its soul back in the 90s. Swift literally called him the architect of the musical universe. She crowned him the king of making us feel the absolute most and pulling at our heartstrings and making us laugh. She even said he feels like one of our friends. The amount of respect radiating from Swift in this moment is just incredible to watch. For the biggest pop star on the planet to completely yield the spotlight, to literally bow down his legacy, shows that she understands exactly whose sandbox she is playing in. She isn't there to overwrite the magic of the past. She is there to honor it completely while adding her own powerful verse to the ongoing story. Seeing these two distinct musical styles and eras come together like this highlights the amazing bridge between a new generation's storytelling and a legacy anthem. On one side of the coin, you have Taylor Swift bringing this fresh, melancholic, deeply introspective, and beautifully nostalgic energy with I Knew It, I Knew You. It's a very modern, almost indie pop take on looking back at your life. But then on the other side, you have Randy Newman, who is the absolute master of the upbeat, jazz-infused, instantly recognizable anthem of unconditional loyalty with You've Got a Friend in Me. And guys, the banter between them when he walked out onto that stage, it was everything. The room was just vibrating with excitement. She looked at him and casually asked, "You feel like playing a song?" And he replied without missing a beat, "You do a hell of a song." Let me tell you, that right there is the ultimate stamp of approval. It's the original architect validating the new voice of the franchise in real time. It was such a pure, authentic moment that perfectly symbolizes how Toy Story 5 is actively looking to blend its beloved, comforting roots with a new, perhaps slightly more mature and complicated emotional depth. It's the ultimate pop culture crossover event, merging two completely different eras of Disney magic right before our very eyes. After Newman praised her new track, the two of them actually shared the stage to perform a live duet of You've Got a Friend in Me, officially solidifying her entry into the Toy Story family. Honestly, this is the stuff of pop culture legend. Hearing Taylor Swift and Randy Newman trade verses on iconic lines like, "When the road looks rough ahead," and "Some folks might be a little bit smarter than I am, but none of them will ever love you the way I do," was pure cinematic magic. The lyrics of this classic song took on a whole new, weighty meaning when sung as a duet between two vastly different generations of legendary songwriters. And, as the years go by, our friendship will never die. If Randy represents the past and the present, and Taylor represents the emotional future of the films, what does this duet signal about the plot of the upcoming movie? It absolutely makes you theorize wildly about Woody and Jessie's arcs in Part 5. Are they facing an obstacle so big they need to rely on the absolute bedrock of their history to survive it? That lyric isn't just about Woody and Andy anymore. In this massive cultural moment, it was about the enduring legacy of the entire cinematic universe. It's about welcoming a brand new, highly emotional era, while fiercely holding on to the classic heart that made an entire generation fall in love with it in the very first place. So as we wrap up this explainer, it leaves the entire fandom wondering exactly how her unique, often devastating lyrical depth will shape the next major chapter for Woody, Buzz, and especially Jessie. We've seen her absolute reverence for the Pixar lore today, we've analyzed the beautiful lyrics of her new song all about long-lost love and childhood nostalgia, and we've witnessed her officially getting the ultimate blessing from Randy Newman himself. Taylor Swift is bringing a level of intense, character-focused emotional storytelling that is absolutely going to push this beloved franchise into fascinating and probably heartbreaking new territory. If I Knew It, I Knew You is any indication of the emotional weight of this self-proclaimed masterpiece of a film, we are all in trouble. So the ultimate question I have to leave you guys with is this. With Taylor Swift officially holding the pen for Jessie's inner thoughts, are we about to witness the most emotionally devastating and beautiful Toy Story movie ever made? I am already buying stock in tissues because this cinematic and musical reunion is going to change everything we thought we knew. Let me know all your wildest theories down in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next explainer.